The scream ripped through the hushed elegance of the first-class cabin like a thunderclap over the Pyrenees. You think you can just waltz in here with your lifestyle and demand special treatment? The flight supervisor's voice dripped venom, her finger jabbing at Talia like a dagger. In that frozen instant, every passenger's gaze locked on the single mother clutching her daughter's hand, the little girl's eyes wide as saucers, the weight of 1,000 unspoken judgments crashing down. Talia Rivera had never asked for a spotlight this harsh. At 35, she'd carved out a life in the sun-baked sprawl of Los Angeles, where palm trees whispered secrets to the Santa Ana winds and dreams were as fragile as sea glass on Venice Beach. A graphic designer by trade, she'd built her world around her daughter, Maya, 8 years old, with a laugh like wind chimes and curls that defied every brush. Talia's wife, Elena, had been the anchor, the one who grounded her wild heart with quiet strength. But cancer doesn't negotiate. 2 years ago, it had stolen Elena away in a blur of hospital fluorescence and unanswered prayers, leaving Talia to navigate single motherhood with the ferocity of a lioness and the fragility of a widow's veil. This trip to West Spain, Andalusia, to be precise, was meant to be healing. Talia's roots traced back to a great-grandmother who'd fled Franco's shadows for California's promise, but she'd never set foot on Iberian soil. Now, with a modest inheritance and a client's fat commission, she booked first-class tickets on the red-eye from LAX to Seville. Not extravagance, but necessity, Maya hated coach, her little body crumbling like origami under the squeeze, and after Elena's endless treatments, Talia vowed no more discomfort for the girl who was her entire universe. Boarding had been a dream, champagne flutes clinking, the flight attendant's smile as warm as a Malibu sunset. Giselle Morales, 32, with eyes like polished obsidian and a laugh that bubbled like sangria, had been the one to greet them. A Seville native working the international routes for a major carrier, Giselle embodied the effortless grace of her homeland, olive skin glowing under the cabin lights, dark waves pinned back with a tortoiseshell clip, her uniform hugging curves earned from late-night flamenco dances in Triana. She'd knelt to Maya's level, offering a sticker of the airline's mascot, a cartoon bull with a wink, and whispered, Bienvenida, Pequeña. This is your kingdom tonight. Talia had felt a spark, unbidden and electric, the kind that hadn't flickered since Elena's hand slipped from hers. Giselle's gaze lingered a beat too long, tracing the sharp line of Talia's jaw, the quiet strength in her posture. But Talia pushed it down. Grief was a jealous lover, and Maya came first. The trouble brewed mid-flight, over the endless blue of the Atlantic. Maya, restless from the hum of engines, had spilled her apple juice across the tray table in a sticky arc. No big deal, Talia mopped it with napkins, chuckling softly. But Evelyn Hargrove, the silver-haired supervisor summoned from economy like a storm cloud, saw it differently. Hargrove was old-school American, the kind who'd cut her teeth in the 80s airline boom, her worldview as rigid as the polyester of her outdated skirt suit. She'd marched up the aisle, tablet in hand, nostrils flaring at the mess. "Ma'am, this is first class," Hargrove hissed, her voice a whip crack in the cabin's cocoon. "We have standards. And you, upgrading on points, I assume. With a child. This isn't a playground." Talia's blood simmered, but she kept her cool, voice steady as the Sierra Madres. "It was an accident. I'll clean it up. No harm done." Hargrove's eyes narrowed, flicking to the rainbow pin on Talia's lapel, a subtle nod to pride, worn like armor since Elena's passing. Then to Maya, coloring quietly in her sketchbook. "Accidents like this cost the airline. And frankly, with your situation, I question if you even belong here. Single mothers on welfare handouts, thinking they can play lady of the manor." The cabin gasped, a collective intake like the wind before a Santa Fe gale. Talia's heart hammered, a drumbeat of rage and shame. Welfare. She'd clawed her way through freelance gigs, nights blurring into dawn with Maya asleep on her chest, building a portfolio that paid for this very seat. But Hargrove's barb cut deeper, the situation. Code for queer, for widow, for the audacity of a black Latina lesbian daring to occupy space in luxury. Giselle, seated 2 rows back on her break, froze mid-sip of coffee. She'd been stealing glances at Talia since takeoff, the way her fingers traced Maya's braids, the quiet poetry in her sighs. Now, fury ignited in Giselle's chest, hot as Andalusian summers. She rose, gliding forward with the poise of a matador, her accent wrapping around the tension like silk. "Excuse me, Senora," Giselle said, her tone honeyed steel. "That situation is a paying passenger and her daughter. If there's an issue with the spill, I'll handle it myself." As crew. Hargrove whirled, face purpling. "This doesn't concern you, Morales. Back to your station." But Giselle didn't budge, her hand brushing Talia's shoulder, a touch like sunlight on frost-kissed vines. "It concerns all of us when prejudice boards without a ticket." The words hung, electric. Passengers murmured, a businessman in pinstripes nodding, an elderly couple exchanging glances. Maya whimpered, burrowing into Talia's side, and in that moment, Talia felt the fracture, not just anger, but the raw ache of Elena's absence, the world's endless scrutiny of her love. Talia stood, slow and deliberate, her 5 feet 7 inches frame unfolding like a desert bloom after rain. "My situation is this: I lost my wife to cancer 2 years ago. I worked damn hard to give my daughter moments like this. And if spilling juice makes me a criminal in your eyes, then call security. But know this, I'll fight it. For her. For us." Hargrove sneered, tapping her tablet. "Fine. But you're being reseated to economy. Effective immediately." The cabin erupted, protests from strangers who'd suddenly become allies. Giselle's eyes met Talia's, a promise flickering there, solidarity, and something softer, unspoken. As the plane descended into the Madrid layover, Talia held Maya close, whispering stories of Spanish grandmothers who'd danced under Moorish stars. But inside, the storm raged. This wasn't just a flight gone wrong, it was a mirror to every sidelong glance at parent-teacher nights, every whisper at the grocery store. Single. Lesbian. Mom. The trifecta of suspicion in America's heartland, now exported to the skies. Little did Talia know, Giselle had already texted her union rep from the galley, fingers flying over her phone. And in the terminal's fluorescent haze, as they deplaned, Giselle caught up, slipping a card into Talia's hand. "Coffee in Seville? My treat. You deserve better than this circus." Talia's lips curved, a tentative smile cracking the ice. Maybe. For Maya, at least. But betrayal lurked, sharper than a Toledo blade. Hargrove, in her haste to uphold standards, had logged the incident with a twist, Talia as the aggressor, the disruptive queer parent, endangering the flight. It hit the airline's internal chatter by dawn, whispers turning to emails, a quiet purge brewing. Seville welcomed them like an old lover, orange blossoms perfuming the air, the Guadalquivir River glinting under a November sun that lied about winter's approach. Talia and Maya checked into a modest parador in the Barrio Santa Cruz, its whitewashed walls echoing with the ghosts of Sephardic poets. The city thrummed with life, horse-drawn carriages clopping over cobblestones, flamenco guitars weeping from hidden patios. For Maya, it was magic, a playground of fountains and cats, her sketchbook filling with sketches of azulejo tiles and stray dogs with soulful eyes. Talia tried to shake the flight's shadow, but it clung like humidity. That night, as Maya slept under a canopy of mosquito netting, Talia scrolled her phone in the dim lamplight. Emails from clients, a voicemail from her therapist back home. "Breathe, Talia. You're allowed joy." Then, a ping from an unknown number. "Giselle. Hey, warrior. Hope Maya's dreaming of churros. Meet at Plaza de España tomorrow. 10 a.m. I'll bring the peace offering, Heladu de Turin." Talia's thumb hovered, heart a butterfly trapped in ribcage. Elena's photo smiled from the lock screen, vibrant, alive, her arm around Talia at a Yosemite overlook. Guilt twisted, but so did longing. Giselle's touch on the plane had been a lifeline, brief but indelible. "Sure. See you there." The plaza was a riot of cerulean bridges and rowboats, Moorish spires kissing the sky. Giselle waited by the canal, in a sundress the color of ripening figs, her hair loose and wild. She spotted Talia approaching, Maya skipping ahead with a gelato-smeared grin, and waved them over. "You came," Giselle said, her voice a melody of relief. She knelt for Maya, offering a tiny boat painted with Seville's coat of arms. "For the brave explorer." Maya beamed, launching into tales of her airplane adventure, glossing over the ugliness. Talia watched, chest loosening. Giselle rose, eyes locking on hers. "And for you, a survivor." They wandered the Alcazars, Giselle spinning stories of Lorca and Cervantes, her hand brushing Talia's as they pointed out hidden gargoyles. Lunch was tapas in a taberna off the beaten path, patatas bravas sharp with paprika, jamon slicing like whispers. Maya napped in a shaded corner, and the conversation deepened, peeling layers like an onion under the sun. Giselle spoke first, vulnerability cracking her poise. "I grew up in Triana, daughter of a gypsy dancer and a factory worker. Love was never simple. My family disowned my brother for coming out, called it a curse from the old days. I fly to escape, but it follows. That woman on the plane. She's the ghost of every bigot who stared at my tattoo." She traced the rose inked on her wrist, thorns and all. Talia nodded, the words unlocking her own vault. "Elena was my everything, artist, activist, the one who taught Maya to fingerpaint protests. When she got sick, the hospital bills buried us. I sold our house, moved to a studio in Echo Park. People say, it gets better, but some days, it's just surviving." Her voice cracked, and Giselle's hand covered hers, warm and steady. In that touch, possibility bloomed, tentative, like jasmine at midnight. They parted with a promise, Alcazar Gardens at sunset, just the two of them, Maya with a sitter from the hotel. But dawn brought the backlash. Talia's phone buzzed at 6 a.m., a call from the airline's PR department. "Ms. Rivera, we're investigating the disturbance. Supervisor Hargrove reports you were belligerent, possibly under the influence. We've placed a hold on your return tickets pending review." Talia sat bolt upright, the room spinning. Belligerent. She'd been the victim. Fury propelled her to the lobby, where Wi-Fi was strong enough to draft a furious email to corporate, CCNG her lawyer cousin in Miami. But doubt crept in, Hargrove's log, twisted into lies, painted her as the villain. Social media would devour it, the entitled single mom ruining first class for real families. Giselle arrived at the gardens that evening, her face stormy. "I heard. My crew chat's blowing up, Hargrove's poison is spreading. But listen, I recorded part of it on my phone. Audio only, from the galley door. Your voice, calm as a saint. Hers. Pure hate." Talia's breath hitched. "Why would you?" "Because injustice doesn't fly solo. And because..." Giselle trailed off, cheeks flushing like Rioja wine. "Because from the moment you boarded, I saw you. Not the mom, the widow, the woman who's carried mountains and still smiles for her girl." They walked the labyrinthine hedges, fireflies dancing like errant stars. Giselle shared a memory, her own lost love, a painter who drowned in the Guadalquivir during a flood, the river claiming what the world couldn't break. Grief's a thief, but it leaves room for new light. Talia stopped under a pomegranate tree, fruit heavy as hearts. "I feel it too. This pull. But Maya's my compass. After Elena, I swore no risks." Giselle stepped closer, the air thick with orange blossom and unspoken vows. "Then let's not risk. Let's just be here, now." Their lips met, soft, exploratory, a question answered in the fading light. No fireworks, but a quiet hearth, warmth seeping into bones chilled by loss. Maya, spotting them from afar with the sitter, giggled and ran up, oblivious to the shift. "Mommy, look. Fireflies are kissing too." Laughter bubbled, easing the knot. But betrayal's shadow lengthened. Back in LA, Hargrove had escalated, leaking the incident to a conservative blog, airline under siege by woke entitlements, lesbian mom disrupts flight. Comments flooded, slurs, calls for boycotts, Talia's face, pulled from her professional headshot, plastered like a wanted poster. By week's end, as they explored Cordoba's mezquita, Talia's inbox overflowed with support too, allies from her design network, a viral thread from a passenger who'd witnessed it all. Giselle, off-duty for a stretch, became their shield, translating local press, charming officials at the U.S. consulate. Romance wove through the chaos, stolen kisses in olive groves, Maya's drawings of Tia Giselle with hearts for eyes. Yet the climax brewed in Seville's underbelly. Hargrove, on a connecting flight, had finagled a layover to personally resolve the matter. She cornered Talia at their hotel's cafe, Maya coloring nearby, Giselle stepping in from the patio. Ms. Rivera, Hargrove purred, venom veiled in silk, I've reviewed the footage. Your partner here doctored it, I suspect. Resign your complaint, or I'll ensure you're blacklisted from every carrier. Giselle's eyes blazed. Footage? You mean the one your own cameras caught? The one showing you harassing a grieving mother? Talia's hands trembled, but she rose, voice a low thunder. You don't know me, Evelyn. But you will. This isn't about a spill, it's about a world that still punishes women like me for loving who we love, for raising our kids without apology. Passers-by gathered, phones out. Hargrove faltered, her facade cracking like parched earth. In a fatal slip, she spat, it's unnatural, that's what. Taking a child into that world. The crowd gasped. Talia seized the moment, pulling out her phone, live streaming to her growing follower count. Unnatural. Love is the most natural force there is. My wife died fighting for it. And you? You're fighting shadows. Hargrove stormed off, but the damage was done, for her. The video exploded, justice for Talia trending from Madrid to Manhattan, celebrities chiming in, the airline issuing a groveling apology by midnight. Giselle wrapped Talia in her arms as Maya cheered, Mommy's a superhero. But victory tasted bittersweet. In the quiet aftermath, Talia confessed her fear, what if this breaks us? The spotlight, the hate. Giselle cupped her face, thumbs tracing cheekbones like sacred maps. Then we mend. Together. The flight home was redemption wrapped in clouds, upgraded to first class, complimentary everything, a personal escort from the captain who shook Talia's hand like she'd won an Oscar. Maya chattered about paella and peacocks from the Italica ruins, her sketchbook a tapestry of their adventure. Giselle, back on duty, stole moments in the galley, her fingers intertwining with Talia's over a shared espresso. You'll visit? Talia asked, vulnerability threading her words like Spanish lace. Giselle's smile was a vow. Seville's not done with you. Nor I. Touchdown at LAX brought the real world crashing back, paparazzi at baggage claim, microphones thrusting like bayonets. Talia. How does it feel to expose airline bigotry? Plans for a lawsuit. Maya hid behind her legs, the glamour souring to stress. Home in Echo Park was sanctuary, a bungalow with bougainvillea climbing the fences, Elena's mural still vivid on the walls, swirling colors of sunsets over the Sierras. Talia shielded Maya from the frenzy, enrolling her in art camp, dodging interviews with the grace of a dodgeball pro. But the exposure lingered, a double-edged sword. Commissions poured in, designs for queer nonprofits, TEDx invites, but so did the trolls, emails laced with vitriol, go back to your deviant life. Giselle's texts were lifelines, photos of Triana sunsets, voice notes of her singing Old Cop Loss, plans for a Christmas crossover. Pack snow boots. Madrid gets a dusting, I'll show you the real Spain, not the tourist traps. Talia clung to them, but doubt gnawed. Was this real, or a vacation fling amplified by drama? Betrayal struck subtly, from an unexpected quarter. A week post-return, Talia's cousin, the lawyer, called. Talia, the airline's settling quietly. But Hargrove. She's suing you for defamation. Claims the video was edited, that you orchestrated the whole thing for clout. Talia's world tilted. Suing me. After everything. Worse, she's got insiders. Someone from the crew leaked your itinerary, tipped her off in Seville. It wasn't random. The pieces clicked, a junior attendant, Hargrove's nephew, bitter over a past promotion. Giselle's union had rooted him out, but the damage festered. Talia felt exposed, raw, as if the skies themselves conspired against her. She flew to Seville unannounced, Maya with her sister in San Diego, heart pounding like a tabla drum. Giselle met her at the airport, confusion melting to joy. Mi amor, what? Needed to see you. To know if this survives the ground. They retreated to Giselle's Triana apartment, a jewel box of terracotta tiles and bookshelves groaning with poetry. Over gazpacho chilled with mint, Talia spilled it all, the lawsuit, the leak, the fear that their spark was just adrenaline's afterglow. Giselle listened, then pulled a folder from her satchel, depositions, timestamps, unedited footage from multiple angles. We anticipated. My union's got your back. Hargrove's case crumbles like stale pan de muerto. But that's not why you're here. Talia's eyes welled. I feel like I'm betraying Elena. Moving on so soon, with the world watching. Giselle drew her close, the room scented with jasmine from the balcony. Elena's not a ghost to exorcise, she's part of you. The fierce love, the artist's eye. Let me love that too. All of it. They talked till dawn, weaving futures from frayed threads, Giselle applying for a LA base, Talia teaching workshops on resilient design. No grand gestures, just the human work of building, therapy sessions via Zoom, Maya's slow acceptance of Gigi, through shared baking disasters. The climax unfolded in a Los Angeles courtroom, 6 months later. Hargrove, diminished in an ill-fitting suit, faced a judge unmoved by her bluster. Talia's testimony was poetry in motion. This isn't about one spill or one seat. It's about a daughter learning she deserves space, at 30,000 feet or on solid ground. About mothers like me, loving fiercely in a world that questions our right. Giselle sat in the gallery, Maya on her lap sketching the proceedings as justice fairies. When the gavel fell, case dismissed, sanctions on Hargrove, the courtroom erupted in cheers. Outside, under palm fronds swaying like applause, Talia pulled Giselle into a kiss, deep and unhurried, Maya's whoop sealing it. But humanism's true arc bends in quiet moments. That night, at a backyard barbecue in Echo Park, neighbors grilling carnitas, queer flags fluttering, Talia raised a glass. To injustices exposed. To love that lands soft. Maya tugged Giselle's sleeve. Will you stay forever? Giselle knelt, eyes shining. As long as your mommy lets me. Talia watched them, Elena's spirit a gentle breeze. Grief didn't vanish, it softened, making room for this new tapestry, vibrant, imperfect, alive. In America's mosaic, from Spanish soil to Cali shores, they'd carved their place, not flawless heroes, but resilient souls, loving without apology. The end? No, beginnings, plural. Talia designed a mural for LAX, intertwined rivers of color, symbolizing journeys reclaimed. Giselle danced flamenco in community halls, Maya twirling beside her. And in stolen sunrises, Talia whispered to the stars, thank you for the fight. For the fall. For the flight home.